This is Co-Pilots, the podcast where we watch not just the first episode of a show.
But that's not what we're going to do this time, actually.
Oh. Why'd you send me the script then?
Because you fucking bothered me for it. So, normally on Co-Pilots, as he was saying, we watch not just the first episode of a show, but also the second. And we review it and all that and tell you if we think it's worth watching.
But we're not doing that this time, are we?
No, we're not.
Instead, this week, we welcome you into the cockpit with us.
Because we've chosen a gimmick and we're standing by it.
That gimmick is the number 2 and the concept of flight.
The thing that humans longed to achieve for so long. And once we've done it, we will never go back.
So, what does being in the cockpit entail?
So, this is kind of just a point where we're going to talk about things that we're interested in besides the shows.
A little bit behind the scenes, get to know us kind of thing, yeah?
And also, on occasion, we might provide you with some more information about what we're doing, what we plan on doing.
Future episodes. Like, we've already told you, next week's episode, well, not next week, it's about 10 days out, is going to be Angel.
Yeah.
And the previous show was a piece of anime trash called Pilot Candidate.
Yeah, I mean, I legitimately hope none of you watched it. If you did, I'm sorry. I don't think it's our fault. We told you not to. You were warned.
It defeats the purpose of the show if you watch the shows we tell you not to watch. The purpose of listening to us talk about it for 40 minutes was so you didn't waste 45 minutes watching the 2 episodes.
True.
We try to save you 5 minutes of your life, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you'll never get those 5 minutes back if you watched it. And now, if you listened to the show and then watched it, that's 50 minutes you won't get back.
But in that case, I can just see the macabre appeal.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of wanting to watch a train wreck in slow motion.
Yeah, I understand that. But I mean, all I'm saying is, I refuse to take any blame for your suffering. You've done this to yourself.
So, that was episode 1. Outside of the shows we watched for the podcast.
Yes.
You watched anything recently?
I watched Oh My Goddess, which is a Korean drama, and
I forgot you watched that.
Yeah, so it's a thing. Really, it's kind of just like a very mediocre shoujo manga, and I watched it, and I don't really know why I watched it, and I don't actually know if I liked it, but I watched it.
I caught part of one episode while you were watching it, and all I know is that one chick, straight up stalker.
Yes, she is, and I'm not happy how that resolved with everything. Yeah. Especially because it was like my second favorite character that was being stalked. But whatever.
I just, it was some blatant, illegal levels of stalking that she was on.
Yeah, it was. She was great.
Well, while you were watching that, I was watching this new Netflix series.
Yes.
Called Outer Banks, which is like Degrassi meets Treasure Hunt, and it's so good. The first season's over, and I watched it, but it was a lot of fun.
I watched the first episode.
Mm-hmm. Because I made you.
Because you made me, yes. And I will probably watch more of it. Just wasn't, what I was in the mood for at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not wrong, and it feels very, very 80s movie-esque.
It's got a
teen
lot,
80s movie.
Yeah, it's got a lot of the 80s movie to it, but I just love the characters. I love to hate some of the characters, and some of the characters you feel like you hate most, they get a little bit of a face turn in the last half of the season.
Okay, so we are not a wrestling podcast.
Oh, speaking of, that's the other thing I've been watching a bunch of.
Yeah. Just a fair warning for everyone. I guarantee on more than one occasion, he's going to end up using wrestling terms. So, if we don't take a moment to define them when he's using them, I apologize.
So, I've been watching a bunch of AEW. I've been trying to catch up with that.
All Elite Wrestling.
Mm-hmm. I've been trying to catch up with that. I'm on week 3 now, so I'm still 28 episodes behind. But it's been a lot of fun, a lot of cool stuff going on. So, do you got anything else you've been up to? I mean, we're obviously sheltering in place because...
Yeah.
That's
the fun world we live in right now.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been playing a bit of Judgment.
Okay, yeah.
Which is a great PS4 game where...
That's the Yakuza spinoff, yeah?
Yeah, it's made by the same people that make Yakuza. It plays almost exactly like Yakuza, but instead of being a member of the Yakuza, I get to be a detective.
An ex-member of the Yakuza, thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I get to be a detective with extremely strong ties to them instead. And I get to solve a murder. Well, multiple murders. And it's fun. I've kind of slowed down on my playing of it recently just because I played through so much of it in one setting and back to back to back. But it's definitely a game I've really been enjoying. And really when I haven't been playing that, I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order because sometimes you just want to be a Jedi.
I really need to start on Jedi. I haven't got around to it yet because I've spent almost all my waking video game hours in Animal Crossing.
I haven't, because real life's already too much for me. I don't even want to try a fake life.
Yeah, I got to the point in Animal Crossing where my island's done. I mean, I could terraform it, but terraforming takes forever, and I'm not...
Yeah, it looks unpleasant.
Yeah, my island's done. I'm just trying to kick out this large chicken who I don't like so I can get a better resident. And mainly I'm just logging on now so I can check the store stuff every day, get my daily stuff, and then log off. It's literally just 30 minutes of me being like, ooh, what's that? And then logging off. Other than that, though, I got a beta key for Valorant.
Yeah.
And I'm not into shooters, but Valorant is dope. I've had so much fun. It's different from a lot of shooters in that it's not just straight who can get the most kills. It's objective based. As a team, when you're on the offense, you're trying to like set a bomb.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
So what makes the game different from like Overwatch or things like that?
Okay, Overwatch is like special powers galore, and while you do have powers in Valorant, they're less like powers and more like special weapons almost. Like,
okay.
And while there's a variety of them, there's one that can make walls out of ice or like coat the floor in ice so that it slows you down and makes you audible when you walk. A lot of them overlap in like what they do.
Yes.
So like my favorite guy, one of his abilities makes a sandstorm in a spherical area, which both blocks viewpoints from either side of the sphere and distorts view when you're inside of it.
Yeah.
But there's two other characters that have similar abilities, one with not poison gas and one with just darkness. And so there's an overlap in abilities, so it's less, oh, hey, look at how special my specials are, and more at how can you tactically use these to gain an advantage.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's still the healer, and you basically can't have a team without her right now because she's the only character that can res people. But other than that, you don't actually... It doesn't feel like you have to have any specific character on your team, which is nice. Also, I just never got into Overwatch's pace. Overwatch is just a lot faster paced.
It's much more frenetic.
Valorant feels more like a strategy game than just a straight-up shooter.
Yeah, I understand that. No, Overwatch is definitely very frenetic in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So, I know we've been talking about video games and TV shows that we've been watching, but you know what we haven't touched on that's been making this lockdown, this stay-at-home order, like, the best?
Alcohol?
Okay, I love alcohol too, but, I mean, I've been enjoying alcohol with this.
Oh.
I don't know how in touch everybody is with music, or in this case, specifically, Spose.
He's great.
He's a rapper from Maine.
Wells, Maine.
And he had some big hits, but honestly, he's pretty much under the radar of most people. Most people aren't aware of who he is.
The only song most of you will probably recognize from him is I'm Awesome,
which was a banger when it came out. But he's been doing pretty much weekly live shows on the internet, and
they've been fantastic.
They've been a lot of fun. Like, it's made the stay-at-home period a lot more enjoyable to like be able to watch one of my favorite musicians perform live.
Yeah.
And while I'm not big into rap, Spose is one of my favorite musicians. He's right up there with Watsky, who we just watched set a world record.
Yeah, 33 and a half hours of just freestyle rap. Like, that blows my mind, and I'm surprised the man isn't dead.
The day after he did that, he posted on his Twitter account, apparently before that, the longest he'd ever freestyled for was 3 minutes.
The amount of growth there, like... No, man, what?
Yeah. So we're talking about George Watsky. He's probably more famous than Spose by quite a bit, but neither of them are selling out stadiums.
Yeah.
However, Watsky, he first got noticed from a video on YouTube called White Kid Raps Fast.
Fun fact, he rapped fast.
Yeah, he at one point held the record for speed rapping.
Yeah.
And now he holds the record for longest freestyle at 33 and a half hours. It was insane. And the cool part is he wasn't just doing it to set a world record. So a lot of people are out of work right now because of COVID.
It's fun. It's great.
And that means a lot of musicians had to cancel tours.
Yeah, like him.
And so he was doing this whole thing to like raise money.
Not just for the artist, but for their crew. Like,
to help pay the crew that he had to cancel on, to help pay... on top of the crew, also like people that had bought tickets,
yes,
and like couldn't get refunds, or like had bought hotel rooms and they couldn't get refunds for their hotel,
and to help pay and / offset the cost of, well, we booked this place, this person still needs to get paid because that's an income that they needed to survive as well.
Yep. So And then like a portion of the whole thing was given like directly to charity outside of the money he was raising for. So I think he raised like almost $150,000.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was really cool. It was a moment, right? Like, I didn't stay up and watch 33 hours straight of rapping.
I watched 26 hours of the rapping.
Jesus, Justice. But
I got distracted from it for a while.
yeah. So, I don't think there was a lot of people that watched the whole thing, but it was still a cool moment to be a part of. Like,
Yeah.
just catching the end of it.
It
By
was-
the way, the last hour or so,
He just like pushed through
it was
all of it.
and it was the hottest rhymes he had the entire time. Like, he was just spitting fire that last hour. Like,
It was cool.
I think it's because, like, at that point, he could just kind of let go, because up until this point, the world record for longest rap was...
Roughly
25
hours and
And then there
some
was
odd minutes.
there was a guy earlier this year who set the record unofficially. It hasn't been approved by Guinness yet, for just over 31 hours.
Yeah.
So when Watsky hit that 32-hour mark, 32 and a half hours, he knew regardless of whether the other guy got approved or not, he had the new world record. I feel like he could just kind of let go at that point and just spit. And
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was a lot of fun. I would, even if you're not a huge fan of Watsky or a huge fan of rap, I would go find that VOD and just watch that last hour, because first, he's been awake for almost a day and a half at that point.
Yeah.
So it's just tremendous effort. But on top of that, it's very good.
So you make a good point, though. Music, I think, just in general, has also really helped me with it. Like, bands dropping new singles, bands that have wanted a really long time to drop new singles, bands dropping new albums. It's been great. And what I really appreciate is there are several artists out there who have just pushed out singles specifically because they're not capable of really doing anything else right now.
Saw a band. I can't remember who. It was on my Twitter feed. They're releasing a EP
Yeah.
sometime this month. They're calling it the Corona Sessions, which, I mean, makes a whole lot of sense, because they all recorded it separately from their own homes. And, like, Spose just dropped a new EP. It's not stuff he recorded now. It's just a bunch of stuff he's had. But, like...
And then you also have bands like Dance Gavin Dance, who they were already going to release an album. But despite...
The Used.
Yeah, despite the idea that they're going to lose money by not being able to have a physical release, they've still said that doesn't matter. What matters is just letting people hear something, especially now when they have nothing else to do.
Yeah. These are all kind of blending together, honestly. I don't want to come off, like, sounding depressed here, but, like, these kind of blend together. My sleep schedule's been totally screwed by this thing. Like,
I've never had one of those. What was it
fair.
like?
It was nice having a sleep schedule, but now I'm, like, awake for 15 to 19 hours a day, and I sleep for anywhere between 6 to 10, I guess.
Wimp. Only 15 to 19, more than 4 hours. What's wrong with you?
So my sleep just kind of keeps shifting every day. And, like, I think at the start, Animal Crossing was really nice because it
reinforced what days were to you?
It gave a structure to the days as well. Like, it gave you tasks and things to do.
Yeah, but then you just started staying up until things changed and then going to sleep during its day period.
Yes, because I needed to catch fish that were only available at night. And for some reason, yeah. But I think the structure was important. And to that note, having things to look forward to is important.
True. Very true.
So things like The Used releasing their new album or Dance Gavin Dance releasing theirs were things to look forward to, especially because both those albums are hot and, like...
They're fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I expected the Dance Gavin Dance album to be fantastic because Dance Gavin Dance are fantastic. But
You are not mistaken in the slightest.
But the Used album being as good as it was a surprise. No offense to Used fans. They're just not really my cup of tea most of the time.
But this new album is just amazing.
Front to back, my cup of tea. Like, it jams and it's super good.
So, now that we've talked about some things that we enjoy and hopefully have provided a bit more of an idea of who we are, I think it's probably good for us to talk about what we kind of intend to do with the show.
That's a very good point, because currently our release schedule is the 2nd and 22nd of every month for new episodes of Co-Pilots Review.
So, for those out there who aren't great at basic math, no problems. You don't have to be. It's pretty useless, actually.
You don't have to be Scott Steiner.
Yeah, no more. That's wrestling stuff. We're going to ignore it. The 22nd is 20 days after the 2nd. So, that's a pretty decent-sized gap.
And the second is typically 12, 13 days after the 22nd.
Yes, so it's a rather large gap in between things.
Followed by a rather short gap between the next two episodes.
Yes.
So that means we're going to be releasing content on the 12th. This is one of those contents that are being released on the 12th.
Wait, what?
That was the plan.
Oh, God, no.
Did you think I was recording you for no reason?
I thought this was just something to do.
Yes, this is just to give your day structure. We're going to do the same thing tomorrow.
Aw, again?
Yes. Again. But we have some different ideas for the in-between content, the 12th of the month content.
Yes.
This is one idea in the cockpit where we basically just hang out, talk about what we like, what we're doing.
And if we ever actually get to the point where we have a fan base, probably answer questions?
Yeah, answer questions would be in this segment. A couple other ideas we have sitting around. If you want to kick off on them.
So a couple of the other ideas that we have lying around and that I believe we intend to do for the next few episodes at least, to give an idea. So we're going to have this in the cockpit, and then we're going to have the next 12th be a different show idea, and then one after that be a different show idea.
Makes sense. Give them a little variety.
And then we have one that we're not going to do right now because it's kind of difficult, but it's something that we're possibly thinking about doing in the future. So the one that we're not going to do right now, we are going to refer to as Round Trip, because we're going to be following a show episode by episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have... continue.
Round Trip. Is that going to be a show we've watched and reviewed the first two episodes already of?
No.
Or it could be
It's just going to be any show, and we're just going to follow it episode by episode.
Okay, makes sense.
And then we have a layover.
So anybody that's listening and wants to give us some suggestions for shows to do round trips of, preferably not shows that are 100 plus episodes.
Yeah,
probably something around.
I'm just gonna be honest. We're not gonna watch like One Piece or Naruto or something like that.
Or True Blood, or
oh yeah. I'm sorry. I only know like anime.
Or
episodes.
Smallville with its 10 seasons, or Supernatural.
Oh yeah, Smallville does have 10 seasons. It just got really bad after like 5.
Like those aren't things we're looking at. We're not going to be looking at spending 3 years reviewing a show.
That would just be that show podcast, and that's not what we want to do.
So we're looking at things that are like a season, maybe 2.
Yeah, maybe like, because my mind operates in anime seasons. Sorry, 13 to 26 episodes.
13 episodes is a typical American season as well, for hour-long TV shows.
And the British ones are 10, right?
Except for double seasons. Yeah, British seasons are typically 10 episodes. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Like a good example of a show we'd be looking at, we're probably not going to do it because I remember we both already watched it, and I know I liked it a lot more than you did. The Tomorrow People, that was 1 season.
It was all right.
So nothing too long in that respect, but if you have suggestions, we'll take them.
Yeah.
So that is Round Trip.
And then we have the layover.
Okay.
Which, on layover, what we want to do is return to a show that we have reviewed.
So right now the only option would be Pilot Candidate.
Yes.
So we're going to do a layover starting next week. We're just going to review all of Pilot Candidate.
Oh God, please no. I mean, it's not long, but I don't want to watch this. The point of the layover is for us to return to something we enjoy and talk about something we enjoy more. I mean, I guess in the future, if you people hate us enough, you could insist upon making us watch something horrible. Oh, why did I mention that?
So, I guess by the time the next 12th comes around, we'll have 2 more episodes out. We'll have Pilot Candidate, Angel, and the 3rd episode, which we haven't picked yet.
I mean, if it's the one I want it to be, we can easily do a layover on that.
Okay, yeah.
Like, legitimately post-week, like, layover, which I think actually makes sense with how much we both enjoyed the show I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. So, yeah, that's a layover. We come back and revisit a show we had reviewed. Currently, there's not a lot of options.
Yeah. And then we have Return Flight, which Return Flight is just going to be us reviewing a show in its entirety that we've already watched. It's not going to be a show we've done on the show.
So, like, Avatar The Last Airbender.
Legend of Korra, I guess.
RWBY at this point.
RWBY, Teen Titans.
Man, we've watched a lot of animated series.
I mean, we can also talk about Black Cells, Being Human, the 100 up until this point. Wait, no, we haven't watched the newest season.
I would say Buffy, but I still have 3 seasons left to watch.
Day 5.
I need to finish day 5 too, but
I have it. It's right over there on the shelf.
yeah, so that's like stuff like that. Stuff we've already seen, and we'll tell you what we think of it. We probably liked it because we watched all of it, but
Or
in some cases, there's gonna be stuff about it we didn't like. I can tell you right now, there are things in Legend of Korra I didn't like. There are things in Ruby I didn't like. There's nothing ever wrong with being human.
No, that show's fantastic. So like he said, it's probably something we've enjoyed, or it's something I've somehow duped him into watching so he suffers as well as I do. Because something I kind of wanted to mention in this episode.
Have you ever duped me into watching a full series that I didn't enjoy, though?
I think like once or twice, just because it was already really short and you were like half awake already.
I mean, I have no memories of it, so...
I mean, you wouldn't have memories of it even if you were awake. You're very good at repressing things. It's not good for you.
Okay, you had another thing you wanted to hit on?
Yeah. And what I wanted to hit on is kind of just how we figured out what we wanted to do with the show, why we wanted to do this show. So, I think the synthesis started like a day after we had a friend over who we were trying to get... He wanted to watch something he hadn't seen before.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
and so we showed him like 5 different shows. And he would give the show like 5 minutes maybe.
Okay,
and then be like, oh, I don't want to watch this. This is bad. And this is the same type of guy who, no offense to people who like Fairy Tail, I can't stand the show. And I've been told it gets good after like 50 episodes.
That's an anime, guys. See,
yeah.
Well, he has to clarify when I make a wrestling joke. I'm going to clarify when he talks about anime, because not everybody knows Fairy Tail's an anime.
Yeah, okay, fine. But I've been told like after 50 episodes, it gets great. You should watch it then. I'm the type of person, I'm not going to skip those 50 episodes. I'm going to watch them if I'm going to try to watch the show.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
So, our friend was complaining like 5 minutes into the show, well, this is boring, I don't like this. Yet, he watched the 50 episodes of a show that he said those episodes were horrible and he hated them and he didn't want to watch it, just to watch what was after that.
I mean, to be fair, well, there's no fair here. I had a friend tell me, Fairy Tail's really good, you should watch it. And I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. I watched 12 episodes, which to me feels like a pretty big commitment. That was like 3.5 hours of my life.
No, that's like basically an average season for a show.
And I came back to him and I was like, "You're shitting me, right? This was awful. Why would I spend? Why would?" And he's like, "No, you how far did you get?" And I was like, "I watched 12 episodes." He's like, "You gotta watch at least the first 50, man." And I was like,
"Yeah,
who's giving an anime 50 episodes before it gets good?"
Yeah,
like.
So that's kind of where the idea came from. Of course, we're not going to watch the first 50 episodes of a show and review it. We don't hate ourselves that much. But it came from this idea
Also, it turns out a lot of shows don't have 50 episodes, guys.
Very true. But it came from this idea of just people who aren't willing to give a show even the entire chance. Or we got him to watch 1 or 2 shows the first episode of, and then he wouldn't watch the next one.
We got him into the 100.
Yes.
That was the thing that happened.
That was surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was on his phone for 40% of the fucking show. And then also a thing that personally I find enjoyable about what we're doing with the show is I have problems with completing things. And that doesn't mean I have problems not finishing them. I have problems investing time in things that are not worth my time.
See, I have the exact opposite. You have this problem where if you start something, you had to finish it.
I've only ever not finished 1 book in my life. And I remember that book. And there's part of me that still wants to finish it.
But like me, I have problems actually finishing things.
Yes.
I'm currently on the last season of Justified. I have 8 episodes left. And I was binge watching it like crazy. And I haven't watched an episode of Justified in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know why for me this is a thing.
Because you binge watch things and then get tired of them?
That's part of it. That is part of it. The other part of it is when I really enjoy something, I don't want it to end. I know the first 4 seasons of Buffy are amazing, and I know season 6 goes downhill. I don't want to touch season 6 because Buffy is a masterpiece.
It is pretty fantastic.
So I haven't really got around to finishing it because I don't want to taint what I love about it. That's an issue I have with a lot of things. I haven't finished the video game Outer Worlds yet because I don't want to finish the story.
Yeah.
Because I've had so much fun in the game Outer Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want my story to be over, even though I could just start a new data, start a new character, but it's different. And
yeah, see, that's actually the kind of opposite of the problem for me. Even if I don't like the story, I have to finish it. I need to know what happens. Oh, it's like the worst thing ever written or something. I mean, that's fine. I still have to know how this resolves. I mean, it probably resolves horribly. I've realized that by this point in most cases. But I still have to know.
Like, the only thing I feel like I have to finish is a movie if I get, like, 20 minutes in. If I get 20 minutes into a movie, that's enough where I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down and spend the next hour and a half finishing this. Because movies are short enough in scale that even if I'm not enjoying it, I can be like, I'll finish it just so I can finish it. But video games, movies, I finish books. I don't leave books unfinished. But video games and movies, these interactive media, video games, TV shows and such, I feel like I'm ending my exposure with that world, and it's sometimes hard to say goodbye.
No, I understand that. I just know I'm odd, and I accept that, and I purposely make my life more difficult for myself than it should be.
I just had a really deep insight on some things about Legend of Korra and why I don't like the last season. That might be personal to me. That said, Legend of Korra's last season was less than stellar.
Don't say that. I agree, but don't say that. This goes out to the public, where people hate us for that.
Why do they hate us? I'm not even talking about the lesbian thing. The lesbian thing's fantastic.
I mean, they were my ship, bro.
Korrasami is fine. I'm talking about the giant mech and...
Yeah. Fun fact. I love mechs. Giant mechs are a way to my heart. So
the complete disregard for the spirit world.
I let the Legend of Korra in. I opened up my heart because I saw a giant mech. And then they took a giant steaming pile of shit there.
The hero is the best villain in Legend of Korra. Season 3 should have been the last season.
Season 3 was dope. They blew up the Earth Queen's head, bro. Well, no, they didn't blow up the Earth Queen's head. They blew up Sparky Boom Lady's head and suffocated the Earth Queen.
Yeah, very violent.
Violence.
Anyways, though, before I go back to angry ranting at Legend of Korra...
Which you shouldn't do.
Yeah, I know. People have feelings about that show. It's the same reason you can't criticize things like Ruby, even when Ruby's bad.
Yeah, I own every volume, and I criticize it, and then I get yelled at for it.
The fan base some fan bases are just toxic.
It's very true.
And it's weird because, like, a lot of the things that have toxic fan bases, I love.
Yeah.
Ruby, Rick and Morty.
Well, they kind of have a toxic fan base for a reason, though.
Supernatural.
I've actually never interacted in the Supernatural fan base at all. I've avoided it.
It's less toxic than the previous ones I
mentioned. No,
it's
just very heavy Wincest, right?
Yeah,
For those that aren't in the know, Wincest refers to incest involving the Winchester brothers, because incest is Wincest, except it's not. It's disgusting, and I hate the world.
Anyways, those are our bonus show ideas. This is one of the bonus show ideas.
It is. It is indeed.
This one is called In the Cockpit, where you get to come and hang out in the cockpit with myself and Justice.
Yo.
Our other bonus content ideas for a quick rundown. We have Layover, where we go back and review a show we've already watched.
Yep.
In its entirety, because sometimes we hate ourselves,
or sometimes we love ourselves, and we get to have a little reward for all the bullshit that we put ourselves through.
Round Trip, that's the episode by episode, right?
Yes, it is.
Round Trip, an episode by episode review of a show, and then our last one, I'm blanking on.
Return Flight.
We review a show that we've already seen in its entirety.
Yes.
Those are our bonus content ideas, and right now I'm not going to say we're not big enough to have bonus content like on a Patreon paywall.
Because I've seen people do it from like the get-go.
But we don't want to paywall our stuff right now.
Yeah, no, we want to be able to show you what it is we plan to do.
And even if we did start paywalling our stuff, we would still be releasing an interstitial episode on the 12th of the month. So even if paywalls became a thing, there'd be something there. We're not like, that would never go away.
We're not super huge fans of the 20-day gap. We like the days we've chosen, but a 20-day gap is kind of large.
Like I said at the top of this episode, we have a theme, and that theme is 2 in aeronautics. And so our episodes come out on the 2nd and 22nd.
It also doesn't help that I'm obsessed with the number 22.
And because the 12th has a 2 in it, that's when we release our...
It is the weakest of the 3 days.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't have the second part of it. No, 100% agree with you.
Good.
So, that's In the Cockpit.
Yeah,
You need to get back to your seats now, because we have another Co-Pilot's review coming for you in another 10 days.
So make sure to fasten those seatbelts, and hopefully it won't be too turbulent of a ride.